and welcome to the Everyday Romantic. And today we're going to be creating a romantic oasis. I've got a whole setup for you guys to walk you through how you can create this wonderful oasis in your backyard. Something really, really cool. I'm so excited and can't wait to jump in. So let's go. This is one of the most creative things you can do from things you may already have at home. A lot of us already own these little pop-up tents. Some of them are bigger than others. This one, for example, is a little bit oversized, but you can definitely do this with just like a 10 by 10, whatever you have laying around in your garage. And if it's all dirty and nasty, don't worry about it. We're going to cover that as well. So here's just a little overview here of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be adding some layers. We're going to start with the very basics. We're going to add lighting and pillows and furnishings and all of that stuff. So step one is obviously going to start with the tent. So you're going to choose a level spot and you're going to make sure that your tent is anchored securely. Okay, so now let's talk about if that pop-up tent is out of your garage and maybe it looks a little nasty. Anyway, you can, in most cases, unless you're working with a very oversized tent, which if that's all you've got, that's fine. But to create a more intimate kind of situation, the smaller tents are actually going to be adequate. But if you're working with a larger one, this probably won't work, or it would work, but you'd have to use more than one sheet. Okay, you can actually throw a king-size sheet over the top of your tent. Now, you want to do this when you're in that position and you are beginning to lift it. You know, you've got it in between, you've got it halfway up, and you haven't lifted it all the way up yet. That way you can throw it over, and then you want to make sure while it's already thrown over that you do secure and tie the corners to the frame, and then you can lift it on up. Make sure you have some play in where you tie these, because if you don't, like this shows it here, but you're going to want to make sure that you have it actually pushed up enough above this little connection here so that when you lift it up, it'll go up. And then you can pull, if necessary, back down to here, because that will help you secure it. And then you can even tighten it there once you get it up in position. And then you want to go to the next step. We're going to start camouflaging the dirt and creating a prettier oasis base. Oh, before we go there, this is a different tent option. I forgot about this. Okay, so if you are purchasing, and some of you may already have these, but a lot of these little 10 by 10 kits now actually include the sidewalls. So they'll have like a back, and they'll have these pretty little windows as sidewalls, and then they'll actually have the little curtains that you can pull back and little tie backs. That is a great investment if you're deciding to do this. I found one for just a little over $100 in my search. I am going to have a link in the description to my website for the Everyday Romantic. And that website is www.theeverydayromanticplaybook. You have to put playbook in there.com. But anyway, I will have a link there in the description of the video so that you can click through there. And then from there, you'll be able to access a supplies list, and it will have a link. I'm an Amazon affiliate or associate or whatever they call them anyway, so it'll have all the proper disclosures and all that kind of stuff, but I will show you the one I found, and it comes in a couple of different colors, white, a dark gray, a black, so depending on your preference. But anyway, this is a way that you could literally do it without having to add the extra layer of curtains and things and still kind of get the look, but you can definitely layer your own little curtains and things, little shears and things with this as well. It's just a little quicker to the quicker to put it up. You can put it up and you don't have to worry about the clips and all that. But we're gonna be working on all of that as well. Okay, so step 2 is going to be adding our floor. Okay, so we're going to want to make sure that we have a moisture barrier of some sort. Even though looking at the ground, it may not look wet, it's probably damp, because most of the ground, unless you're going through a really dry spell, and I still wouldn't trust it, because you're going to be layering things on top of it that you don't want to get all nasty. So you can use either a tarp. You want to make sure it's not really grimy itself, so you want either a clean tarp from your garage, or either to purchase one specifically for this purchase. And of course, when you're putting it up, you're going to want to make sure you wipe it down or wash it off or something and hang it so that it's clean for the next use. Make sure it's really dry before you pack it. And then I love a canvas painter's drop cloth. Love it, love it, love it. There's so many different uses for it. A lot of times they come with these little grommets here, and that makes it easy to use these little stakes. You can kind of stake everything down. It helps keep the moisture barrier in place and just keep it when you're walking on it and everything. And then you're going to want to build your cozy floor. That's going to be where you're going to add your rugs, your cushions, and your comfort items. And so anyway, this is just another view, and here are a couple of little helpful hints and tips over the years that I've done. Make sure you smooth all the wrinkles to reduce the trip hazards. You want to avoid using any of your treasured rugs. These are rugs that you're going to either indoor outdoor rugs, or rugs that you don't really care about them getting messed up or anything like that. You want to make sure, obviously, like I said before, that once you're putting things up, that you let everything air out if it has any moisture at all. So this just shows kind of a layered view of how you're going to layer the plastic or the tarp, the canvas drop cloth, then the rug layer, and then on top of that's where you're going to start building your blankets and pillows and all of that kind of thing. Okay, so I know a lot of us don't have these fancy little rugs lying around, but here are a few ideas on where you can find them if you're wanting to put this together, because if you do this is probably going to be a thing with you guys. It's going to be something you're going to want to pull out and surprise each other with ever so often to create a special evening, a special date night, whatever. But anyway, there's going to be lots of ways you can use these ingredients, these little romantic things that you can put in a kit, your romantic, everyday romantic survival kit kind of thing. So we'll be pulling these things out and using them in different applications as I show you more videos. But anyway, so you can grab these at yard sales pretty cheap. Look for them at yard sales, estate sales. You can find them at thrift stores and Goodwill and Salvation Army a lot of times. Don't underestimate just asking friends and family, because a lot of people don't do yard sales, but they have these things just lying around, and they would probably give them to you or at least loan them to you. Just make sure that they understand that if it's a loan situation, that where it will be used, so in case it's special to them, you don't risk messing it up or whatever. Obviously, you can check local marketplaces, listings like on Facebook or Craigslist, stuff like that. Always be safe when you're meeting people you don't know. Do it in a public place and everything. But anyway, you can layer all of the things you find. So you can consider layering textures, patterns, and sizes, and it creates a cozy, collected look that way. Okay, step 3, we're going to start adding our curtains. Now, a lot of us don't have a lot of curtains laying around, and you can easily use flat sheets. And those are still relatively inexpensive if you don't already have some that you can pull, old ones that you kind of pull out or whatever. But I've got several different ways, and some of this is going to repeat from my slides, as I go forward, because they're different views, and I wanted you to be able to see the different ways that you can do it. Okay, so you can attach your curtains on, or your sheets, to the tent with several different methods. So the first is clip-on methods. So you can use clothespins, you can use metal tension clips, you can use bungees in certain situations to like help support, like on the ends where you already got clips. On the ends, you could use a bungee just to, where you could bunch it around and clip it. You can also use curtain rods or shower rods, PVC pipe. You can use clip and ring curtain rings, rod pockets, where if you do have curtains, you can run that through. You can even pull over the top and then clip on really narrow poles and stuff like that. Space your clips evenly for a smooth, even drape. But if you want it to be, you can also like pleat and clip, which will give you a pleated look or a bunched look, if you want things to have a little bit more volume. You can try alternating your methods for layers and textures. You can use more clips for wider panels. Use metal clips for extra hold. If it's really windy, having a few of those metal clips in, even if you're using the clothespin method, would really help you out. You definitely want to clip the fabric directly to the frame. You don't want to clip it like to the tent part here, the top canvas part here. You don't want to do that. And these clip methods are good for lightweight sheets, or shears, something like that. And it's very easy with these clips to adjust your drape, and how full it is. Okay, so here's the rod options again. So as you can see, you can put like a PVC pipe across here. You just attach it here with like bungees or something like that. And then you can run your curtains across here. Or you can attach using the ring method. Now, this is visible. You can pull it up behind this little flap here, and then that would give you a little bit better look if you did want to hide, like if you're using the PVC pipe and you really didn't want that to be seen, you could pull it up under there like that. And this is just some illustrations of how you could use the various different rods and stuff. Make sure you measure the width first when you're getting your rods or your PVC. Make sure the rod is secure and it's level, and add drapes on all sides for privacy and a little romantic feel there. Okay, so here's another curtains on a tent or cord and bungee. Okay, so this is where you can actually, like I said, you can clip directly to the frame. You've got the PVC pipe, or you can also attach with these little bungee cords. And then the clip and ring, curtain rings, we talked about that. The cool thing about this is it's lightweight, removable, budget friendly. You get instant ambiance when you add these curtains. And definitely don't forget your tie backs, because you can use lots of different things that you have laying around the house for that: cord or ribbon, a bungee loop. You can even twist and tuck it, Some other ideas are like paracord, twine. You can use soft rope. You can adjust the tension for the look and comfort of your drape. Okay, so I think we can all agree that curtains on a tent look so pretty when you've pulled back, and this is just some other examples of bunching the fabric at the corners, tying back with the ribbon or cord, and how much prettier it looks, when you've pulled it back and you're kind of showcasing, you're staging your area. Okay, step 4 is adding our lighting. And lighting safety is very important. So you want to make sure you use an outdoor rated extension cord. You plug it into a GFCI outlet if possible. You keep connections off damp ground, and you cover plugs with a weather-safe cover or protected container when necessary. You want to make sure you route your cords either on the outside of the tent or either definitely not in the walkway. So you want to have it as far over on the edges so that so that you don't do it. You also want to make sure that you keep fabrics away from hot bulbs. and you turn any lights off when you're finished. Don't overload your cord with a whole bunch of little extension cords. Make sure you just have a primary that you can kind of plug it all into. And you can use painter's tape, clips, or cord covers to reduce trip hazards. So keep that in mind, like duct tape. And I don't know about painter's tape, because I think painter's tape in most situations is probably going to be too light, but you could use duct tape there. We want to be safe. You don't want it to turn in, like catch on fire and catch your yard on fire. So want to be real safe. Okay, so string lights are warm, twinkly, and they're magical, and they make a lot of them for outside use now. So you can just plug them in. You can attach them on the inside with clips or zip ties. Make sure you if you're wanting to go across the back wall, you actually could, as long as you bring it in and it's not directly on the fabric. I don't know if you've ever seen these outdoor light curtains, like around Christmas time. You may have those, and those are really lovely to light up the backdrop. Just make sure you try to keep them off of the fabric, like have a little bit of distance between those. And then at the entrance, they make really pretty, in front of and draped that. Warm white or LED lights create a romantic and flattering atmosphere. And you definitely, again, want to keep it away from fabric bunching. Like if you've got a bunch of fabric, you don't want to put the lights inside of it and bunch the fabric around it. That's just not really safe. So you want to choose warm, soft light, layer a few strands for cozy glow. Use battery or plug-in lights, both work. Cool LED bulbs are best. Here's a few more examples of ways that you can do those. You can also add solar lights, these little stop lights to sit on the outside of the actual tent space. And using LED flameless candles in jars or lanterns is awesome, because that gives you that ambiance again without, you can use things you can use mason jars, you can use, ginger jars, you can use vases, you can use all sorts of things, all these little lanterns, as long as you can place an LED candle inside there, those are great. Some other ideas, and some of these have already been I mentioned before, but this will just give you some ways you can incorporate. You can actually take the lanterns and hang them almost like chandeliers or whatever, and put the LED flameless candles in them. Again, the ginger jars. Clustering things at different heights like this also add to visual interest. And then lighting the way with the little solar lights. And you can also use, if you don't have an outlet nearby, you can also use the string lights that are solar. So they have a little panel, and then they're fueled by solar. And you want to mix the string light with the candle glow from the LED candles, and just create that mood. Okay, so now we're to the ottoman table, and y'all, this is just the cutest idea. And if you have an ottoman, then you obviously can take some fabric or a curtain or a sheet or something. You can tuck it around it, and you can create a little table in the floor table for a centerpiece, kind of. Okay, but I have a great DIY for you. If you've got, some of us already have these little inflatable inner tube floats, different colors, different things. You could even use a tire. If you don't have an inflatable and you just have an old tire laying around, you can actually do that. If you're going to use the tire, I would wrap it in that heavy duty, some sort of plastic first, and then layer your fabrics, just because tires are just going to be dirty, and they're going to rub off on whatever you put over them. So if you're going to use a tire, same concept, but you want to wrap it in plastic first and then put your fabric, wrap it in the fabric. But anyway, so throws work good for this, but you can definitely use one of these inflatable floats that's an inner tube. And then inside, you're going to want to, now this shows it a lot higher than it is, just to show you the layers. You're going to want to go equal to the top, just in the middle, with some books, some sturdy books, not paperbacks, maybe some hardcovers. Just stack them in the center, and that's going to help give it a little bit more stability, so that when you drape your soft fabric or blanket over the top and you add your tray on top, the tray is not going to be wibbly wobbly, because obviously an inflatable is inflated with air, so it is not going to be a super sturdy. It's going to have some flex. So you want that tray to sit on top of kind of the books part of it, and then part of it will be on, you can use a round tray, you can use a square tray, you can use pretty much anything, but then you can style it, and that's so cool. It's so cool. Okay, so here are some other ideas if you don't have an ottoman. Like, obviously this is a ottoman, from a home. Then that's really easy. You just put your tray on it and go with it. You can also take cardboard boxes with a lid, and if you don't have a lid, a lot of times you can make a lid out of other cardboard. You could even flip it over to the bottom, and then you could even stack some books and stuff up under it to give it also more stability. And then you just cover it just the same way. You can cover it with some fabric, lay a throw over it, put your tray on it. This is actually kind of one of those more sturdy little covered boxes, and this is just a different way for ideas, because the cool thing about this is, even though I'm throwing these ideas out at you, you are actually going to be the one that is going to be adding all of your personal things. You have your own items, you have your own imagination, and that's what's going to make it truly unique to you. So let's get started with step 6 now. We're going to be adding the pillows and layering cushions and using all of that to create a comfortable and cozy lounge feel. Okay, so we're going to be building the back support. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do this, and some of these are not illustrated, but let me just throw them out there for you. Okay, so the biggest problem with creating this look is, what are you going to lean against? So here are some ideas. These are not guaranteed to work for you, but here are some of my ideas. Okay, if you have like a 1x12 board or something to that specification, you can actually, if it's at least say 10 foot across, or possibly even a 12 foot, you can put it on the front side, the inside part of these posts in the back. Now, you want to be careful to make sure you have it supported in the back. So what you're going to do is, you're going to go to Lowe's or your home center that you tend to, your hometown center, lumberyard, or look around your yard and look for like either 1x1s would be great. Then you could chop those down so that they cover the full 12 inches. You can screw them to the backs of the board, or not even screw them. You could just drive those into, they'll have to be long enough for you to drive them into the ground behind. So that serves as an extra little thing, so that you could kind of lean against it and you wouldn't have any play in it. You want to make sure that it is sturdy. You can also use, if you have concrete blocks lying around, you could put several of those across the back, and then you want to cover whatever that is up, like throw some sort of throw or fabric or something across it. So obviously you don't want concrete blocks to be seen to kind of interfere and interrupt your mood, or 1x12 sticking up there. But anyway, so you can use those sort of things as like a little structure behind there. Whatever, you look for things like that. That'll give you some ideas. But so now that you've got that kind of centered, we're going to do a rolled comforter bolster. This is going to help provide support. and it definitely sets the base across the back. That's these things. You can do 2 small ones, you could do 3 small ones, you could do 1 large one, and I've got a step-by-step that I'm going to show you in just a few minutes that is going to show you how you can construct these bolsters. So you don't have to have a purchased bolster, you're just using stuff you have already at your house. And then of course you can use bed pillows with shams on them as this back extra layer here. If you want to, those European sham, the square pillows, you know, a lot of people have those or have had those on their beds, and sometimes they get tired of using them. Think about using those as well. And then you also have decorative front pillows that you can, the little smaller pillows that you can just kind of throw on there. So that's like, this is where you go and get all the throw pillows that you're not using. And a lot of them now you can actually, if you're thinking ahead and you think you might use this concept more regularly, like we want to do, you can buy those little zippered covers for your throw pillows. And so if you're looking to create a particular mood with certain colors and all, you can just buy those inexpensively. I'll link some of those up in the supplies list for you. But anyway, so that's how that works. So here's how we do our DIY floor bolster. Okay, so basically you're going to gather some bed pillows, and that's going to be like your center. And then you're going to take some old comforters that you're not using, and you're going to roll them. Now, how, like, you can roll them single ply and just roll them and roll them and roll them. You can double it, you know, make it, fold it in quarters and then roll it that way. So you can adjust. You can flip it in half and then roll it that way. The point is you have lots of flexibility. But you're basically going to be rolling those comforters around the bed pillows as the center. The center is going to help it be firmer. And then you're going to take some ribbon and you're going to bunch up the ends of the comforter and tie it off. And then you're also going to go ever so often and you're going to wrap. You don't have to use the bows. You could wrap it and put the tie part on the underside or whatever if you didn't want a bow. But anyway, that's going to form your bolster. Now, one of the this is kind of to give you some really pretty back support for lounging, reading, and relaxing. And of course, the thicker your comforter is, then, you know, the more firm it's going to be, you know, depending on how many pillows you put in the center. That's also going to help make it more sturdy. So that's just going to give you more support. Okay, now we're to step 7, which is adding accessories, which is so much fun because this is where you just go all around your house, all in your storage shed, and you just gather all these cool little things. So what are some accessories we can add? Well, we want to finish up with flowers. We want to finish, you know, we want a pretty tray to put on our ottoman. And, you know, we want pretty glasses, pretty plates to serve on. We want more of these flameless LED type candles. We want greenery, you know, like ferns and stuff. So you can pull those from other porches. You can use silk ones. Nowadays they are making the artificial foliage and everything, and I'll link some of that up also for you. But they're making those that are made to withstand the sunlight and everything better. And a lot of people are using them on their front porches, on their back decks. They're using them out in their yards, and so that's like a whole thing now. And so I'll add some greenery for you in the supplies list. And, you know, if you decide you want to invest in some of those little things, but you can always use real stuff. You can even, this is even a really cool, very inexpensive trick. Okay, because I'm also a real estate agent, and I've had open houses and things where the people just didn't have the money to do any sort of curb appeal on their porch or anything like that. So what I would do is I would go and I would find some evergreen shrubs somewhere that, you know, in their yard that they didn't care, or somewhere I knew that had that had something that needed to be trimmed, and I would just take my clippers and clip them off, and then you can literally take a pot and just poke them in there until it looks like a shrub. So that is a most of the time a no cost. Just grab a pot, throw some rocks in it or something like that, so you can just poke all those little trimmed pieces of that evergreen in there, and then you have some little pots of greenery that you can set around, and it doesn't cost you anything. Okay, so can you believe that we started with a very basic 10 by 10 pop-up tent that a lot of people just have lingering in their storage building or their garage, and we just added some draperies. We added the floor. Actually, we did the floor first, but we added the flooring. We added the draperies, the pillows, and all the lighting and the accessories. And then look how amazing we can make this space be for us to enjoy a very memorable evening. That's all ours. It's something that we put ourselves into, because you're going to build these, and it's not going to be Tammy Gibbs's thing. It's going to be your thing, because you're going to use the ideas that you like out of what I've talked about. You're going to adapt these things and these ideas to you and your situation and your spouse. And together you guys can enjoy just an amazing evening that's a little special. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. So step 8 is enjoying your romantic oasis, because it's ready. It's got your cozy seating. It's ready for date night. It's got the soft glow of the string lights, and then also all of the LED flameless candles all around. It has flowers. It has greenery. It has beautiful rugs. It has everything. But most of all, it's going to have the two of you enjoying a special evening. Okay, so here are just a few, and it's not all that I mentioned, but here are a few of the Romantic Oasis supplies that you can buy, you can thrift, you can borrow. You may probably have a lot of these things at home. So you've got your structure as the pop-up tent, stakes, an optional king-size sheet if your tent is grungy. And then you also have flooring options. You've got your plastic or your tarp. You have a canvas painter's drop cloth, if you can do that. You could use quilts on the floor instead of a rug. You could do a quilt. Do not use a comforter, because then it would be hard to walk on and could potentially cause you to fall. Rugs, obviously. And then, even, blankets, like a woolen blanket or something. You could use that. Okay, so fabric and hanging. You've got sheets, curtains or shears, clothespins, metal tension clips, cords or bungee cords, curtain rods, shower rods, PVC pipe, that kind of thing, curtain rings, and then ribbon or cord for tie bags. And then, of course, for lighting, you've got extension cords, string lights, LED flameless candles, and then solar lights that you can stick down in your yard. And then for comfort and support, of course, you have the comforters for the bolster roll. You have bed pillows, you have couch cushions, you have decorative pillows. You can use all those. And then for your table and your styling, you have either an ottoman or a sturdy box, an inflatable inner tube, a tray, all your little goodies for your tray. You're going to have your glasses and your china plates and all your kind of thing like that. Glass ginger jars or lanterns, flowers and greenery. You've got snacks. You've got all of that kind of stuff. So all this stuff. I am going to have, it's not a huge checklist, a huge supply list that I'm going to link up, but I will link up a few things for you to just check out on my Amazon page in case, just to save you some time. And if you use that link, thank you. You're helping support the channel. You're helping support me and my family so that we can create more videos for you guys and supply you with more romantic ideas to help you turn into a everyday romantic. But you should not be paying anything extra to do that. It should not cost you anything to buy through the links. So if you really loved this video, and I hope you did, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. I hope you'll share it with all your friends. This is just one of many coming videos that we're going to be producing around the everyday romantic theme. And I have so much in store for you. And my husband has so many ideas as well. And we are just really excited to be working with you and helping you reconnect and have a more romantic life. If you're not married, don't worry about it. My Everyday Romantic, the Date Your Spouse Again playbook, you know, anybody can literally pick this thing up. And if you're in any sort of relationship, or you're even planning to be in a relationship and you just want to get some heads up on things to do and how to do them, then this playbook is absolutely something that you could benefit from. So, but inside you're going to find romantic rendezvous ideas. Now, this particular one is very connected to a couple of the rendezvous, which will go much more in depth on actually the date itself and not just the backdrop for it. So one of them is called Arabian Nights, and then we have several others that you definitely could use this setup with. But anyway, you get everyday connection tips, meals for two, gift ideas, scavenger hunts, music and movie inspiration, and there's even a companion workbook, which is so cool that it basically takes all the workbook pages out of the over 400 page playbook, and it makes it a little bit easier for you to access those and print them out if you want to fill them out. And they're a lot of fun. These are not boring worksheets. These are fun for you guys. And so anyway, really so excited about the whole thing. But you can visit our website and you can purchase either through Etsy or Gumroad. We do not do any we don't collect anything, you know, through our website. We do it through these marketplaces, and that's for your safety. I don't like to put my information in on an untrusted website. You know, it doesn't matter how trustworthy I am as a person. I just feel like this is the better way. Most people have an Etsy account or, you know, a Gumroad account. Both of those are reputable marketplaces, and we just felt like that would be the best way to handle the purchases. And we did not on purpose do our playbook on Amazon, even though I do have my fiction, my novels, and some of my nonfiction there. And you can watch the video of our origin story to find out all about how I got started, about my recipes for romance from the leading ladies and gentlemen of romance that was published in 2001. And, you know, I am a romance author. So you can find out about my books and stuff. Anyway, watch the little video. It's not very long. It kind of walks you through the origin story of how we got here with the Everyday Romantic, the Date Your Spouse playbook, Date Your Spouse Again playbook. That's long. When I'm titling things, sometimes I don't think about how hard it is to actually say the titles. But anyway, you can check everything out at the Everyday Romantic playbook.com. Make sure you put playbook in there or it'll send you somewhere else. But the Everyday Romantic playbook.com, I'll have it linked up in the description. And thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. And I hope that you have learned how to create your own romantic oasis. Another little thing that I have done that I'm going to make available to you guys is I've got all of this into a little guidebook. So if you don't want to have to stop and start and pause and all that kind of stuff to try to get these ideas where you can follow them as you're setting up your romantic oasis, I've got it all in a little PDF ebook, and you can purchase that as well. I'll have the link to that. It's also on Etsy, and it will be on Gumroad as well. Low cost, just a little something that you know, when you purchase it, you're helping support the channel, helping support the whole thing, and having a place to come to learn how to become an everyday romantic. So anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, may all your days and nights be filled with romance.